My name is Savanah. I'm just kidding. Alright, let's do this. My name is Savanah Buhite. I'm an English major with an education concentration. And my entire thesis is all about English language learners and them interacting with the Common Core and how they would overcome obscure information and knowledge. The picture right there is my first class of students I ever had. And believe it or not, 2 students in the back, there's some only Bantu students, so they're technically English language learners. So that's where I kind of started to interact with students that are English language learners, and I realized I'm very interested in that type of topic. So, once again, another great picture. They were a hoot. So I taught at Summerbridge Pittsburgh, which is a nonprofit in Pittsburgh that helps students that are in underserved classrooms receive the training so that they can go to college-bound mindsets. So it's a really big, important program, and that's when I interacted with the small Bantu students. And I found myself getting really tired of the arguments for or against Common Core, because the fact of the matter is Common Core is kind of here and we have to interact with it as educators. So I wanted to find a way to utilize the Common Core to suit these students instead of saying, well, we don't need the Common Core while these students don't receive any help in the classroom. And while we do have an administration that has changed their views on the Common Core, the current administration wants to get rid of it. It's the state's decision really to implement it, and 47 states and other departments are using it willingly. So it's still something that we're interacting with even in Pennsylvania. So my research overview really started out with the idea the modern American classroom is very difficult, and you have to find a way to address all the students' needs. So I went to the Common Core, and I really wanted to look it over. A lot of people say they know what the Common Core is, and then they don't, and it's just a very confusing topic. So I wanted to question the standards of the recommended books for their clarity and appropriateness for the classroom. I evaluated one of the Common Core recommended texts, which was a 9th and 10th grade suite book, and it was the Book Thief. I looked at it for the parts of speech being used in non-traditional ways, ambiguous slang, unusual adjectives, and noun phrases modified by unusual adjectives. It's a mouthful, right? It's great research. So here's some definitions. I'm not sure if everyone knows these definitions, so I wanted to throw them up there. An English language learner, or an ELL, I use them interchangeably, is an individual who's in the process of actively acquiring English and whose primary language is other than English. And another term for that is ESO. It's just another way of saying ELL, really. It's an English secondary language learner. It kind of puts more of the emphasis on the language. That's a whole different argument, but it's just an ELL student. So some other definitions I want to throw up there. I had parts of speech in this, and I was like, oh wait, everyone probably knows their parts of speech. So keep those in the back of your head. And non-traditional, I define it as certain parts of speech that are acting beyond their typical way. So a verb being used as an adjective or a noun being used as a verb. I'll give you some concrete examples. And slang, which are words that are not typically found in academic writings, are commonly used in casual conversation. Y'all, yins, all that fun language. So here's some information. This is from the most recent bout of information from the State of Education, as they call it. It's a giant report that we get every year from the Department of Education. So 9.3%, or roughly 4.5 million students in the United States are ELLs, which is higher than any previous year. 22.7% of Californian students are ELLs, which is a very fascinating fact rate, almost a quarter of those students. So this is an important topic. West Virginia has the lowest percentage at 0.7%, so there's like 1.5 students there or something like that, approximately. And of course it's expected to grow. We have all sorts of things that are happening in American culture right now. We have refugees coming in, we also have different communities coming together, so there's going to be a growth of this no matter what happens. So here's the Common Core. I lied before when I said 47, it's 42, my beat. 42 states, the District of Columbia, 4 territories, and the Department of Defense Education Activity willingly adopted the Common Core. So that's pretty important. The importance of language is more heightened in the Common Core. This is basically a summary of the Common Core. Everyone says they know the Common Core because they hate it, but let me just give you this. This is the straight facts right here. Lessons are becoming increasingly more abstract and focused on language throughout the entire suite of classes you're in. So that includes math. I'm not talking about that today though. Yeah, so that's basically it. I can talk about this forever. So here's my slide called English is Difficult, because we can all agree with that. So these are different ways that my research overview that I went through, suggested ELL students tackle the Common Core language, or language in general. The first is morphology, aka the study of words. So you teach the students how to break down the words so that they know how to understand new words when they come to it on their own. That increases their self-esteem as well because, hey, I can do something new, apparently. The second thing is teaching without a focus on grammatical structures. Everyone hates it whenever they write their essay. They turn it in, it's a great essay, and it comes back and it's like D-, and it's because you kept on doing grammatical errors. Well, imagine being an English language learner and you're just trying to learn the language by introducing assignments to students and saying, hey, look, I just want you to write. You're going to have more practice in the classroom. Students are going to become more confident and actually have more voice in the classroom, which is very important. And the last thing is increased interactions with fellow students. So there's a lot of research that supports this. Instructional conversations, aka just using the classroom language in conversation. So if you're learning about the scientific method, use the scientific method in a conversation. Frequent utterances, inviting students to share thoughts. It's a low stakes way of having students talk. By talking more, you learn more English. Big surprise right there. And increasing student and student activities such as small group and paired group tasks. You're talking to peers while you're trying to do one major big objective. It's a great way to make friends as well. So it's very important for not making the students isolated. So my research was, again, evaluating the book thief, which is a 9th and 10th grade recommended text. And I found these issues with it, like I said before, the parts of speech being used in non-traditional ways, ambiguous slang, and unusual adjectives. So the whole entire gist of it, why I chose this book, it's on the list. Also, it's a very popular book. It just recently got made into a movie in like 2013. As teachers know, if a book's a movie, you may want to teach it. It's very easy to pop in the movie afterward to reassure some plot lines. So the gist of it, if you never read it, it's narrated by death during the Holocaust, and it tells the coming-of-age story of a little girl. Isn't that interesting, right? Yeah, I know. It's really confusing too. This is fried readability. So one way of evaluating readability is use the fried readability test. There's like 400 different tests I chose this one. So I chose 3 passages of 100 words each at the beginning, middle, and end to average out the syllables and the sentence count, and I got 136 and 8.3. So that makes it a 6th grade readability, right? That sounds great. 6th grade readability, 9th and 10th grade classroom. Wrong. Here comes the fun stuff. So I evaluated the text with this in mind. I had 60 pages of the book that I went through. It's like a 300-page book. I wasn't about to do that. I wanted to get a sample, really. So the first thing I looked for, again, was the parts of speech, the ambiguous slang, and then the unusual adjectives. So let's break it down for the first, each 3 of them. So the first thing I looked for were those parts of speech in unusual ways, non-traditional ways. I found 192 instances in 60 pages. That's pretty significant. That is a lot of examples. So I just picked out from my research 2 examples and threw them up on the board here. The first one is, a suddenness found its way onto his lips. Suddenness is not a normal word we hear. Normally, sudden is not being used in that way. So an English language learner reading a sentence might be like, I've never heard sudden used this way before. Is this sudden? Is this a whole new different word that someone didn't tell me about? Like, that whole thing goes on in somebody's head. Next one is the cuckoo shrieks in the radio. So a cuckoo is a type of bird. So if a student doesn't know it's a type of bird, they're strike 1. Strike 2, why is a bird shrieking at a radio? Doesn't make sense. Very non sequitur. And you see, in isolation, you're like, well, okay, it's a little confusing, you skip over it. But 192 instances of that is going to make it frustrating to read. Absolutely frustrating. But then don't worry, there's more issues. So the second thing I looked for was ambiguous slang. Surprisingly, there were 39 instances. In a book taking place in Holocaust-era Germany, that's pretty significant. So some examples include assumed the helm. It's an archaic term. You're not talking to your friends like, yeah, I assumed the helm today. Like, that's just bizarre. They're going to think you're a weirdo. So, you're not interacting with this. So as an English language learner, you have no idea. Like in the chords or waved him a backhander. All of these are really weird terms you don't really use, but it's still slang. So again, students don't know what they mean, and it kind of ruins the experience of the book. I also, in the slang section, I evaluated it for different pieces of swear words and stuff along those lines as well, and there's a lot of instances of that as well. So unusual adjectives and noun phrases being modified by unusual adjectives, 169 instances. So her bulletproof glasses were shattered next to the bed, non sequitur, and she carried around the remains of Himmel Street on the carpets and floorboards of H. Granda Strasse. Absolutely confusing. So, in conclusion, this text might be very difficult, but there are ways that you can help it and make it a really great piece of literature. It has a great message in it, and you want to incorporate it. And just because it's difficult doesn't mean your students can't do it. So recommendations I found in my own kind of literature review I applied were talk to your students. Maybe you don't know their experiences, because their experiences might dictate if they're actually better at reading such a book. Writing plenty and often, annotations, book club with peer-to-peer interactions, reading aloud in class, everyone loves it, and primary and secondary sources. So, yeah, don't laugh at that. So anyway, that's about it. Thank you for listening.